becoming your best self doesn't have to feel overwhelming, exhausting, or impossible. I'm your host, Josie Santee, and this is the Every Girl Podcast. Women's health has come a long way, but in so many ways, it still feels like we're operating with an instruction manual that was never actually written for us. Most of us know the basics. We know we have a menstrual cycle. We know we get PMS. We know our hormones fluctuate at this point. But if someone asked you what your hormones are actually doing throughout the month, or why you suddenly crave chocolate before your period, or why your workouts and nutrition might need to change depending on where you are in your cycle, most of us have no idea. We were never taught those answers. Today's guest knows that that's a huge problem. Izzy Fischer is the co-founder of DailyBasis, a women's wellness company built around the surprisingly simple concept that women's bodies aren't the same every day of the month. So why are we treating them like they are? After realizing just how much of medicine, nutrition, and even the supplement industry was built around male biology, she set out to create a better approach. So today we're getting a full masterclass in your reproductive cycle, what is actually happening inside your body during each phase, why your nutrition needs change throughout the month, what your cravings are trying to tell you, and how to stop wasting money on supplements that may not be doing what you think they are. Whether you're trying to have more energy, support your hormones, or simply just understand your body better, every single woman is going to walk away from this episode knowing something that she wishes she learned years ago. This should be required listening. Here's my conversation with Izzy. This is going to be such a fun conversation. You are a woman after my heart. First, I want to start understanding your story. I find that everyone who is in health and wellness, but especially if they have created their own product, they have a moment of like an aha where they realize that their body needed something different that wasn't available to them. What was that moment for you?
Yeah. So I think you're right, but my journey into health and wellness and hormonal health is very multifaceted. I feel like I am truly a girl's girl in the sense that I have had every single thing that women typically suffer from, an eating disorder to body dysmorphia to body image issues. But that is all not actually what led me to start DailyBasis. And what really led me here was actually my journey getting off of hormonal birth control, which I think is so common for women. We don't learn about our bodies until we're either trying to get pregnant or getting off birth control. And we should be taught about all of this stuff way, way before that so that we can adequately prepare for these moments. But for me, I was on the birth control pill since I was 15 years old, oral birth control for 10 years, and then I had an IUD for 5 years. And when I was getting off the IUD, I asked my OBGYN, I have a lot of health anxiety, and I think a lot of women have health anxiety.
Oh my God, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much information out there, and there's a lot of fear mongering. And for me, I was like, I'm getting off of birth control, and I've been on this hormone for my whole adult life. And I was 27. I was in a stable relationship. I was just ready to be off of it. I wanted to see what my body was like without birth control. And I'm actually on birth control now, so I'm not anti-birth control, but
that's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And we can get more into that later if you want, but like I'm fascinated by that because I do feel like it's either I hated it and I'm glad I went off, or it's like I prescribe it to everybody as a doctor. So that's really fascinating.
Yes.
But I love that because it's not a bad or good thing. It's like for the right circumstances or not right circumstances.
Yeah. Birth control was designed for a reason. And there are things that birth control is great for. Not getting pregnant, great. You can have sex without getting pregnant, which is obviously huge for so many women. The one thing about birth control that I didn't know is it masks a lot. So it masks symptoms. It is not a way for you to be super in tune with your body. And so when I was coming off birth control and my doctor was like, you'll be fine, you don't need to transition, there's nothing you can do to support yourself, I was really scared that my body was going to go out of whack. And when I got off the IUD, it did. I had acne, I had metabolic issues, I was gaining weight and losing it and having these intense fluctuations. I had horrible anxiety before my period, like debilitating anxiety that I did not know where was coming from. And I knew that it was because of getting off the birth control. And not every woman obviously has a hard time getting off birth control, but it is a transition for your body. It is a big shift. And the biggest thing is you really don't know what your baseline is when you're on birth control. So you're not able to know this is not normal for me or this is normal for me. So when I went back to my doctor, I was like, I am super out of whack. I got off the IUD and now I have all of these issues. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like myself. And I was also pretty healthy. I was an athlete. I ate super well. I prioritized my sleep. I didn't really drink alcohol at the time. And I was just so out of whack. My OBGYN at the time said, you should actually just get back on birth control. And I was like, that seems like not what I should do.
Not it. Because it is interesting. It's like there's no, here's why that's happening. It's just very much like, let's mask the symptoms.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of people, the symptoms are so debilitating that is a good temporary solution. It's like, I just need to like be able to live my life. So that's not to shit on that either. But it is interesting that so many women have that experience of just being told, then just go back on it.
Yeah. I mean, she said it's hormonal. You're having this hormonal imbalance. Okay, what does that mean? Educate me. What is a hormonal imbalance? I didn't know. This term hormonal imbalance is thrown around all of the time. And you have products saying balance your hormones, but no one actually knows what that means. And so being offered the birth control pill for all of these symptoms is not effective. And you're not really getting at the root cause. So I said no to that. And I dug into the research and I went to see a functional medicine doctor. I actually learned a lot about how nutrition ties in with cellular health, which helps production of hormones, which then helps to balance your hormones. It's this whole domino effect of all types of different things that happen in your body. And when you have adequate nutrition, you can support those hormones and actually balance your system and prepare for any transition and help with your long-term health. I started supplementing and I was doing really targeted supplementation based on my hormonal fluctuations, which lots of women don't know what is happening in their body.
Most women, right? We weren't taught that in health class in school.
No, yeah, and it's not our fault. If we understood the hormonal fluctuations and what was happening throughout the month, I think there's a lot that could be unlocked from just owning our own power and understanding our health choices at a macro scale. So when I learned about the cycle, when I learned about how to support your hormones at a really foundational level with nutrients, all of my symptoms started to get better. I was like, this needs to be shared with women in terms of educating that your long-term health actually starts with nutrition and not just your food, but how you're getting to that really targeted nutrient solution, because most menstruating women are deficient in critical nutrients, over 50%.
Wow.
And we don't know that.
Is it like nutrient deficiencies that will show up on like a basic lab panel, or it's what we hear about where it's further deeper than what even our doctors test us for on a regular basis?
Lots of doctors are not testing for a lot of these micronutrient deficiencies. If you get a really comprehensive micronutrient deficiency test, you will find what is happening. I had a D3 deficiency, an iron deficiency, a folate deficiency, a magnesium deficiency, and all of these are critical nutrients for reproductive health and for longevity. And women are not told this. We're not told this by our doctors. We don't get checked up. And we're living in a system that wasn't built for us or for our hormonal cycles. And so we have this two-pronged issue where we're ill and we don't know it, and it's contributing to long-term chronic illness, infertility, PMOS, endometriosis. All of these can be traced back to nutrient deficiencies, and we're not educated about it. So we actually don't know what we don't know, and we can't make decisions to help us. And so that's why I started DailyBasis.
Going back to the health class of it all, like the fact that we are not learning about this, of here's how your cycle, your hormones change throughout an entire month. I still will never get over the fact that I learned about wet dreams, and I never learned about here's how your cycle, your hormones are different from day 20 to day 4 to day 26.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done a lot of digging into the industry. Why do you think that is, that this information was not taught to us? And it's also not something that I think still our doctors are really sharing with us and teaching us a route forward that way.
I think it's twofold. First of all, yeah, we're literally taught wet dreams. We're taught how to put a condom on a banana.
Yes.
We're taught if you get pregnant, you're going to die.
Yeah.
And if you have sex, you're going to die.
Yes.
And you should all be scared of getting your period. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening here?
And we just thought like that your period was some like scary, awful thing that is really embarrassing you just have to deal with.
Right.
And it not that there's an entire cycle that your hormones are in this different fluctuation every single day of your life.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So to answer your question about why, you can trace this back to actually the clinical research that's being done. Up until 1993, women were actually not required to be a part of any sort of nutrition studies or clinical scientific research, which the reason why is because we have this menstrual cycle. And that was a really hard thing to study because men, they have a daily rise and fall of testosterone. It's a daily cycle. It is the same every single day, super easy to study from a scientific perspective. Women, on the other hand, have this monthly complex cycle of fluctuating estrogen and progesterone and follicle stimulating hormone and all of these different hormones happening throughout the month. So you can't just pick Josie on one day and know that this is going to impact her the same as it would on the other half of her cycle. And so that's a major reason why. And then I hate to be this girl, but the patriarchy. I mean,
it's root of
just like-
everything. Root of all evil.
like it's the rhetoric, and I think it's the messaging that we're gotten. And we are put on this planet to procreate. It's just one part of what we can do. And that is not something that we should be messaging to young women. And if we could empower 12, 13, 14-year-olds who are getting their period with really understanding their body and understanding their cycle and how it works. I mean, imagine if you at 16 were told that you can only get pregnant 4 to 6 days out of the month.
I mean, that would have saved a lot of confusion and anxiety in my life.
So much anxiety. Like we've all heard that story of the friend who like said that they gave a hand job in a movie theater and then like took Plan B the next day.
Yes. And I was that friend, not going so far as Plan B, but like I was that friend having anxiety about like, oh my God, what does this mean?
Yeah, I thought I was pregnant every month. Yeah, before I ever had sex.
Before I ever had sex. Like, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
No one gave us like good education.
But it's not our fault. It's no one was taught this. And so I think that not knowing this information is a huge reason why Sophie, my co-founder, and I started DailyBasis, is to really bring this knowledge to women and do it through a product that's actually addressing nutrient deficiencies that's going to help with our long-term health. But we really care the most about that education piece because it's changed my life so much.
Oh my God. And it is so important for women to know. I think even just this new, like cycle syncing has become like very trendy in the past couple of years, which I am curious your thoughts on. I personally love it because even though there's some misinformation with it, it's still this awareness that your cycle's not your period that you get to ignore your entire life until you bleed. And then you're like, this is how I'm going to take Advil. And then you move on with your life.
Yeah.
Your cycle is something that's happening all day, every day. And your hormones are different. And then you need different things. Like just that awareness.
Yeah.
For one, I think it's validating to women to hear, when you go through those days where you're like, all I want is to shove my face with chocolate. And I really don't feel like working out. And I'm really unmotivated. You don't feel like this lazy piece of shit. It's because my body doesn't need this type of workout and it needs more carbohydrates and it needs different things than it did a week ago. Our bodies are not always out to get us. We actually just don't know how to work with our bodies. Just the validation alone, I think, saves so many women without even the piece of how much it heals symptoms. It is purely the validation. So for you, was that a part of it was feeling validated that your body was kind of like not your enemy. It was something that you could work with.
Exactly. You said it really well. Cycle health is health for women. That's been my issue with cycle syncing and becoming a trend because there is a biochemical reason why you are experiencing those things that you just talked about. Cravings, energy, fatigue, social, all of those things can most of the time be traced back to your estrogen levels, your progesterone levels, or where you are in your cycle. I think cycle syncing is getting a little bit of a bad rap because it's becoming very trendy, like you said, and it's becoming extreme like everything does, where influencers or content creators or people on the internet are saying that women need to sync everything with their cycle. And it becomes this rhetoric of biohacking and over-optimization.
Over-optimization.
This is so stressful. It's so stressful for me. Most people think as a founder of a supplement company that I am an over-optimizer, but that's actually part of the reason why I wanted DailyBasis to exist was to have something that was easy in the background, not needing to think about it, not over the top, simple. And cycle syncing has this messaging that's like, track everything, make sure that you're not listening to your body because you're in your luteal phase, so you can't do a workout, and make sure that you're only eating raw foods during your follicular phase because you don't need as many calories. And it's becoming a little much.
Yeah. There's too many guidelines that I think the whole purpose of it is to try to teach women to listen to their bodies.
Yeah.
But then we get into now I'm only listening to what these guidelines are instead of what my body actually wants. Every time I post about it, someone's like, well, I don't know if I'm ovulating today or tomorrow. And I'm like, it's not that deep.
Right, exactly.
It's just not that deep. Or like, I want to eat mac and cheese. When's the best time to do it? I'm like, anytime you want.
Just
like whatever.
Totally. That is the message here is cycle syncing. If you really zoom out, it's great because you're, like you said, you're getting validated from a biochemical perspective that there's a reason why you're feeling this way. Especially if you know where you are in your cycle, if you know you're in your luteal phase, you're coming up to your period, you're having a craving, just eat it.
Yeah,
like
eat the craving.
It's all good. But I think broader than that, knowing your baseline. And that is why I really encourage every woman to track their cycle. Don't change everything about your life just because you're tracking your cycle. Track your cycle, understand how you're feeling, track how you're feeling throughout the month. See where your energy is during your second half. See how your social battery is during your first half. See if it's a repeatable cycle. And then you can start to, instead of making decisions before that because of the cycle, know that if you're feeling a certain way, you have that data to then just chill out about it and allow yourself to make that decision. Because for me, that was what was game changing, is knowing the science behind how progesterone impacts your body. It literally rises your inflammation levels. It raises your body temperature. It causes you to want to eat more, but you also literally need more calories because you're burning more calories during that phase. And your body's inflamed. It's working harder than in the first half. So if I feel tired or a workout sucks or I don't want to go to the party, it's a little bit of like okay, it's validated and I don't have to beat myself up about it so much and just don't have to override myself every single time.
What are some common things that you think women are like, I hate my body, or my body is being so annoying about this, but it really is just progesterone and your body's changes?
This is why I think cycle syncing is so beautiful, is women are constantly just hating on themselves all the time. Like override. There's no ability to understand basically at the root cause, like, what is my body telling me? I didn't learn how to do that until I was 29. I struggled with eating disorders, body image issues, all kinds of different things that just was contributing to this chronic override. The food and the cravings is a big one. That one is every single month, 300 calories on average women are burning during the second half of the month when progesterone is rising. And so cravings, energy levels, mood changes is a big one. A lot of women have lower mood levels, so maybe a little bit more anxious, maybe more emotional during your second half of your cycle. So that is a huge one that women need to just give themselves a break about and make some choices surrounding that. Maybe you don't want to do a super, super important presentation at work or a podcast interview with someone you're nervous for because you're just going to be more affected by those things. And granted, you can't always control that because the world wasn't built on our individual 28-day cycles, but it's just information so that you can plan better and prepare yourself better. If you know that you have a really high pressure day at work, but you're 2 days away from your period and your progesterone levels are high, you can then prepare for that better. Maybe clear your schedule the day before. Maybe get a massage a couple days before. Don't do as hard of a workout that morning because then you're just pushing your body into more and more inflammation and having a harder time handling those things. So I think that the data is really what can help us and prepare for things rather than force yourself to do it or not do it.
The amount of people that I hear from that are like, I get so moody before my period. How do I fix it? And yes, there's a certain extent, like we've talked about, moodiness can certainly be a nutrient deficiency. It can be a lot of things.
Yeah.
But there's also just a small difference. Like I was just having anxiety last night. I'm like, why? Oh yeah, because my period's coming in a few days. I know what's happening. And I think it's just about giving yourself that grace and just the awareness of, like for me, I don't like to watch a lot of scary stuff anyway, but I'm not watching scary things in my luteal phase. I'm like, I can't handle it. I can't handle that. I'm not going to have, if I can help it, the stressful conversations. I'm going to maybe allow myself more time to relax, read and watch my happy shows. It just is like planning differently about your life so that you don't feel, again, this like beating up on yourself of why do I feel like this? We always want to change everything. And I think as women, we're like fixers. Like we want to, something's wrong, I need to fix it. Sometimes it's just like your body's meant to do that. And you just need to adjust your life accordingly in these small ways that you can, not in any drastic measure. Cravings, I'd love for you to talk more about this because this is such an important thing that I think every single woman, turn this episode freaking up at this point because we are so programmed to hate our cravings. Like if I see another headline that's like, how to suppress your cravings and appetite, I will lose my goddamn mind. So talk to me about cravings. Why is it actually a good thing? What does it really mean from our bodies when we have cravings?
There's a million things that contribute to cravings. If we're talking purely from a hormonal perspective, you're going to have more cravings in your luteal phase leading up to your period because of all the things we just talked about. Progesterone, inflammation, actually your metabolic rate goes up, so you're burning more calories. So your body's actually just going to want more nutrition. It's the same concept as when you go on a run versus a day that you don't go on a run, your appetite's higher. You're burning more calories. That's just science. Other things that impact cravings, especially during this time, is being satiated. Women love to skip breakfast. We need to stop doing that. It's really not good for us, especially in our luteal phase. We can handle it a little bit more in our follicular phase leading up into ovulation. We have a little bit more support during that phase. Our cortisol levels aren't as high. But during your luteal phase, skipping breakfast is going to increase your cravings. If you have a really high protein, high fiber, awesome breakfast within a couple hours of waking up, I guarantee you won't have as many cravings at night or later in the day. And then nutrients are also a big part of this. So if you're nutrient deficient, especially iron, D, magnesium, folate, these really high-powered nutrients that are so important for women, if you are deficient, you're going to have more cravings. Your body is needing nutrients, literally. It's craving nutrients, so you're going to crave things like chocolate that's super high in iron, steak, rich foods, things that you really want to you're like, oh, I'm craving a burger, I'm craving steak. Like your body knows what it's deficient in. And so you're going to crave those things. So I would say eat breakfast. It's like the most important. I know everyone's like, it's the most important meal of the day, but really genuinely.
Mom was right. It actually is. Yeah. Especially for women.
Yeah. It's so important. And it's going to just set you up for success, especially in that luteal phase. If you have a lot of issues and symptoms during your luteal phase, just start eating a better breakfast and see what happens. And then the nutrient support for sure.
Again, we're so programmed to think that our bodies are out to get us. And so I know, especially for a lot of women, when they get into that luteal phase and they're thinking, I have these fitness goals, my period is sabotaging me. When really your body just knows what it needs to be healthy. And yes, maybe your brain is interpreting that as like, I want an unhealthy like chocolate sundae, or I want an unhealthy French fries or whatever it is. But like, that's just your brain's understanding of your body saying, I need this type of nutrient. It took me a lot of years to get here, but I really, every time I have a craving, even if it's for a not healthy food, I'm like, that is so cool. That is so cool that my body knows how to communicate with me what it needs.
Also, eat the cookie. If you don't eat the cookie, I promise you're going to eat 12 of them the next day. Just eat the cookie. It's all good. I think women just need to give themselves a little bit of a break. Cycle syncing, or knowing my cycle and understanding my hormones, helped me a lot with that. But it's getting out of hand. We can just
eat the cookie and be
just
okay.
listen, get in tune with our bodies, really, truly. And I guarantee you it will change your life if you really can just start to listen to the cues.
So we talked about how in health class, most of us never had any exposure to this kind of information. If you could sit down with every 25-year-old woman, 30-year-old woman, what are the 3 things that you want her to know?
I don't know if I could break it into 3 things because
there's so many.
Well, I think I really would just explain the cycle to them.
Okay, so let's explain the cycle. Because I do want you to walk through every phase because there is a lot of lack of education about it. So
Yeah.
what are the different phases? What's happening?
Yeah. So there are technically 4 phases of the cycle. I don't typically talk about it in 4 phases. At Daily Basis, we talk about it in 2 because we're talking about the hormonal fluctuations. But I'll walk through it from the beginning. Day 1 of your cycle is technically on the first day of your period. The first day of your period, you have low estrogen, kind of your lowest hormones, low estrogen, low progesterone. Throughout your period, your estrogen is rising. So that's why on day 1 of your period, you feel drastically different than on day 4 of your period. So estrogen rises through that period and through the first 14 days of the cycle. That's your follicular phase right after your period. Obviously, follicular phase, that's when your follicles are developing, getting ready to be fertilized. Your follicles are maturing. The sperm will come and it will fertilize at ovulation once it drops. There are a lot of other hormones at play here, but to keep it simple, I'm just going to speak about progesterone and estrogen because those are the key players. So estrogen rises throughout that follicular phase. At ovulation, you have a steep drop in estrogen and you have a rise in progesterone. And then you have this rise in progesterone throughout the luteal phase. And then once your period starts, your estrogen starts rising again. So we really talk about this in 2 phases. So you have your high estrogen phase during days 1 through around 14, which is when ovulation is. And then you have your high progesterone phase, which is day 14 to your next period. And estrogen and progesterone are those 2 hormones that have drastically different impacts on nutrient absorption, energy levels, fatigue, mood. Your brain chemistry changes throughout the month, literally, because of these hormones. So why are we not doing anything about this? Why are we living like a man, living the same every day? There are drastically different things that can help these cells with these levels. A really good example is estrogen is sort of the happy hormone. It's high energy. It makes women feel good. You probably feel super sexy. You want to go out. You're social. That's estrogen. I'm a huge fan of estrogen.
We love estrogen.
We love estrogen. That's why, pregnant women have high estrogen during a lot of their pregnancies. So you're feeling like amazing. Estrogen's amazing. So during the first half of the month, that estrogen hormone has that natural energy boost effect. So you don't maybe need as many B vitamins as an example. That's why you're probably not craving foods that have high B vitamins because B vitamins help a lot with energy levels. If you have too many B vitamins in addition to high estrogen, a lot of women actually feel anxious. If you ask someone who's like, oh, I actually feel really anxious around ovulation, it's because you have this insane estrogen levels. You have this like super high peak hormonal period of the month. And then you're also adding like caffeine, your B vitamins, your creatine, your workout, and you're just like amping yourself up on top of the natural energy. So I actually don't typically drink coffee during the peak of my follicular phase because it's just like I get so much more anxious than when I'm using it during my luteal phase.
You already have like kind of enough energy. So then anymore, it's like, whoa.
I get like sweaty hands. I'm like anxious. So, and I take Daily Basis obviously, but there's way less B vitamins in that first half of the program. Second half, progesterone causes more fatigue, more inflammation, rises that body temperature. It decreases your mood hormone. So serotonin production is often lower during this time. Dopamine production is often lower during this time. So that is when, having that dose of B vitamins, having that caffeine is actually going to be better tolerated. You're going to actually want that because you don't have this natural energy support during that first half of the month. So in Daily Basis, we have that added B vitamin during that time. Just one example of many, which we can get into later, but that's how you can sort of recognize these patterns. And once you understand how your body handles it, because some people don't have a giant fluctuation in how they feel, but once they start tracking it, they start to realize that there's a pattern that happens every month with mood or energy or social battery. Creativity changes often. You're more creative during that first half, less creative during that second half. I love to do menial tasks during my luteal phase, cleaning, Excel spreadsheet work. So just that's the overview. There are a lot of other hormones at play for sure. There's testosterone, there's FSH, but that's the basics.
Okay, that is a fascinating example about the B vitamins because I would love for you to talk more about how our nutrient needs vary.
Yeah.
And why you have 2 different formulas for the 2 different phases.
So The reason why we built DailyBasis in 2 phases, we've partnered with a team of OBGYNs and functional medicine doctors. I'm not a nutrition scientist. I learned a ton through them. You can take the same thing every day for sure, and that can be supportive. However, what you miss is you miss the education. So having the education of having those 2 physical objects that literally represent those 2 hormonal phases is so empowering for women. I mean, it's literally, oh my God, I'm switching over to balance. That is my luteal phase. I might expect these things.
That's what keeps you aware. It's kind of like a tracking, but in a less obsessive way.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can kind of track through your supplement routine without having to write it down or write down symptoms, but just kind of start to notice. From a nutrient perspective, though, it is really optimized to cycle through these nutrients. So during the first half of the month after you bleed, your body has a higher need for zinc and iron, 2 big ones. You just bled for 4 days straight, your iron stores are low, and iron is so critical for women. I mean, 70% plus women who are menstruating are anemic or have some sort of iron deficiency, and this impacts metabolic health. Energy is a huge one. If you have really low energy levels, you probably have an iron deficiency. It can make symptoms. You can have acne. There's all types of things that all of these nutrient deficiencies can cause from a symptom perspective. And iron is also one of those that you don't necessarily want a super high dose all of the time. It can be dangerous to have too much iron. So we put a really high dose of iron in that first half, but in the second half, the iron dosage is much less. We focus on other nutrients because that's really what's needed at that time to help your body do what it needs to do naturally. That's one example. In balance, the second half, inflammation is higher, mood is often compromised. You said that you know a lot of women who have anxiety, mood, that sort of thing. So those higher B vitamins for energy is a huge one for balance, but then also herbs and botanicals like quercetin that help with inflammation. So we're literally highest inflammation is right before our period. Having something that's going to really powerfully support that anti-inflammatory effect is really great. I also encourage women to eat more salmon and that sort of like omegas. Get anti-inflammatory foods in your system during this time because it'll make a huge difference. High fiber, high protein. So those are just a couple examples of kind of the differences in how nutrients can be supportive for different times of the month. But it's there's a million things in there.
We could be here all day.
We could be here all day. So that's the basics. But just, knowing how those hormones impact biologically and knowing that healthy hormone production comes from healthy cells. And so having different nutrients to support different hormones really makes sense when you think about it.
It's really interesting to think too, like I always wonder about like maybe I think too much about like cavemen, but I really do get so curious about before our modern world.
They didn't have supplements.
They must have just known, for example, like the iron, they would probably crave red meat after their periods or during their periods because they would feel like they needed more iron, which again, like we talked about, we have cravings too. But it had to have been like so much more in touch with our bodies that we have kind of lost. We hear really loud cravings, but we don't hear maybe like the little whispers that they probably knew to adapt their cycle. So in a weird way, what you were doing with DailyBasis, I kind of feel like is ancient in a really weird way because before there was a supplement for it, women knew to do this on their own. They knew how to change their nutrient needs because your body needed different things. That is how we are meant to live. Yeah. Like that is how our bodies have evolved to live is through fluctuating nutrients. And we have just been conditioned out of that. So DailyBasis and what you're doing is really not only just giving women the nutrients they need, but it's also allowing them to be more in tune in a culture and a time that has deprogrammed us out of the way that we're naturally meant to live.
Yeah. And I want to touch on that about the ancient times thing.
I could go off at the ancient times. Tell me more.
This is one of the reasons why the health and wellness industry is really challenging. We don't need most of these products. However, our food is not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's just an important thing for people to understand because I am a food first person. Sophie and I, my co-founder, we were actually big supplement skeptics before we started DailyBasis.
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, to me, it was all scams. To me, I was like, why are we taking a pill of something that we could be eating? because whole food first, we should just eat whole foods. We should get our micronutrients through our food. But the reality is our food is changing. And because of agriculture, because we're shipping food across the world all of the time, there's soil degradation. There are literal nutrient levels in our food are lower than they used to be. I believe the stat is that our grandparents had to eat 1 orange and we have to eat 5 oranges to get the same amount of vitamin A.
Oh my God.
And so it's just not, you can't compare literally apples to apples anymore. Haha. And
that was a good one.
That was a good one. I just came up with that. And so that's when I realized that, when I learned all about soil degradation and how much our nutrition is actually decreased in the foods that our grandparents used to get nutrients from, I realized that, okay, there is a time and a place for supplements, and supporting your nutrient levels is really critical. So also making sure you're choosing a supplement that's safe and bioavailable and has the right forms and clinically formulated with doctors who know what they're doing is really, really important because it's a largely unregulated market. But I think educating ourselves around what is needed and supportive versus what is just there for marketing is really, really important, because that's something that I, as a founder, am passionate about. It's really hard to kind of sift through all of the noise and know kind of what's helpful versus hurtful.
It's so true. And the supplement industry is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's really scary. It does
So
feel like
scary.
just a lot of marketing. A lot of women are not sure which is the best supplement for me. There's also a pink and shrink version in the supplement industry where anything marketed towards women is either more confusing, more expensive. So I'd love for you to talk on, especially you as a supplement founder, like what did you make sure went into your supplement and what should women be looking for to become smart consumers?
Yeah. We have a very unique challenge that Sophie and I have gone back and forth on many times. And it is, in order to cut through the noise, you have to just go gung-ho on this supplement will change your life. It will change all of your symptoms. It will make you feel amazing, and you won't have to do anything else but take our supplement. The amount of before and after body pics I see on supplement brand marketing,
my God.
I'm just going to tell you right now, there is no supplement that's going to make you lose 30 pounds. Like,
No.
Can we just put that out there? Just taking a magnesium supplement once a month is not going to make your problems go away. And so as a founder, it's super frustrating because there's a lot of marketing that's just completely false. And it's making these huge promises that supplementation won't do. We have this challenge where we're actually trying to just reframe the conversation and educate consumers and women that supplementation is really powerful if you get a great routine that you stick with. And you stick with that over a course of not just 3 months. Everyone says 3 months. Yeah, at least stick with it for 3 months. But nutrient support is supposed to help you every single day as a support system for your health routine. And the longer you take a supplement, the better you will solve these nutrient deficiencies at a root cause. In DailyBasis, cycle routine is really designed to address foundational nutrition needs for menstruating women. And it is designed to be a daily nutrition partner for years, the entirety of menstruating period of time. And we're not something that you take, if you take once in your luteal phase, you're not going to feel a difference, because that's not how supplementation works. Will you feel better after a month? Yeah, we have results that show that. Consumers and our women everywhere are saying that they feel all types of different things, but that's not what we want to market because it's false advertising. We are paying attention to perimenopause more and menopause. We're talking a ton about infertility and PMOS and endometriosis, yet we're not talking about how to support your daily nutrition foundation for the 20 years leading up to these periods of time. And so that's really why we designed the product. Looking for a supplement, I would say for women, the thing to just be wary of, if they're making false claims that feel like a magic fix, it's probably not going to work.
It's probably not a magic fix.
Probably not.
Yeah. No, I love that you explained it that way. It is crazy to me. I mean, even supplements that for many years I was like, I really believe in this and I love what they're doing. I'm seeing their marketing is like, I just saw a video of a company that I thought would never do this. And it was this very skinny toned girl saying, look how ripped my abs look after I've been taking this creatine. And it blew my mind. That's just like the game that you're in. Like at the end of the day, it's marketing. You have to market your product to make money, to sustain your employees.
Yeah.
Because there are so many options. People are like, you ping pong to the next supplement.
Yeah.
So I love that perspective. And like maybe as an industry, we just need to shift. If you're not willing to be like, let me look at the very basics. What does my body need? What is like a partner in my daily life? It might not be worth taking that supplement. If it's like, this is this exciting new trendy thing that it's going to change XYZ, rather than what is like the foundational reason behind why I actually need this. And this is something that I would take for years.
Yeah.
I really don't think that there's a point spending your hard-earned money on it.
A supplement isn't going to change anything. It is super supportive and can help a ton. I have seen it. I have seen women with PMDD get rid of their PMDD symptoms through taking DailyBasis because we put amino acids in it that help with mood. And there's a bunch of examples of how certain symptoms can be helped with supplements. However, if you aren't sleeping and you're drinking 4 days a week and you're skipping breakfast and not eating protein and fiber and stressed out, like you can't really help yourself with just a supplement. A supplement is a great supportive system to help your longevity and support your cells. But you got to be sleeping, you got to be drinking water, you need to be regulating your stress in order to get your body back in check, because all of those things contribute to this concept of stressing out your cells and supporting abundance for your body. So I think that's also it's just sad is we have this world of marketing where people and brands are just making these claims that are absurd. And in the world of GLP-1s and all of this really unfortunate way in which things are trending, it just makes things worse. And we're really just taking advantage of women.
That's why it pisses me off so much, because it's taking advantage of women.
Yeah.
100%. And I think DailyBasis, it's a different category to me because it's foundational nutrient gaps that we have in our diet that you're filling.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's very different than there's a gummy that has a super berry blah, blah, blah in it that's going to make you lose weight and improve your metabolism. Supplementation should actually not be this like, ooh, let me try this like witch potion and hope that it helps me lose weight overnight and helps me get toned and solves all my issues of my life and makes me feel worthy. Supplements should be, like you said, our food system in a lot of ways is failing us. It's not the same as it used to be. And also women, we have a lot of these nutrient deficiencies. We need to just supplement with like the basics. Like you're not like throwing in all this crazy shit. It's like you need B vitamins at this phase. You need iron at this phase because our body has evolved to need that. And we're not really getting that. Like that's what supplements are supposed to be.
Yeah. So ridiculous.
You're like, couldn't be me.
I'm like, guys,
like we got to stop.
We got to stop. Yeah, totally.
This is one of the big reasons I wanted to have you on, is because one of the questions I truly get asked the most is like, what's your supplement routine? And I share it. I'll talk about it. But I think it's because we always want to know, I feel like I'm doing something wrong with my supplements because everyone else seems to be, we hear all the marketing. And so I just wish that we could change the way that we talk about supplements so that they should be supplemental to our nutrition. Supplements, where that comes from. Okay, Izzy, we're going to wrap up some rapid fire questions.
Okay, great.
What is your go-to breakfast for optimal hormonal health?
Anything with protein and fiber. Right now, I'm obsessed with edamame, eggs, and rice.
Wait,
it's so good. It's so good.
How do you make your eggs? What? No, I need all the details on this.
2 eggs scrambled in like oil or butter, whatever you prefer. Shelled edamame defrosted, salt, and just like some leftover rice warmed up. And then I'll put like the chili crisp on it or like sriracha. It's so good. My husband's like, what are you eating? I'm like, fiber, protein, carbs, and delicious.
Yeah, and tasty.
Yeah, it's really good.
That sounds actually so good.
Yeah,
that's a really good breakfast.
Yeah.
I want to try that.
I've been like living off of edamame lately. I don't know. I'm just like on this kick.
I always forget that edamame is a thing.
It's
but I
so
love edamame.
high fiber and protein, and it's so good.
What do you feel about, some people are like weird about soy.
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. I really think it's fear-mongering.
I agree.
Like obviously don't only eat soy, but it's really good for you. I mean, it's great fiber and great protein, and it's got micronutrients in it.
I think that the whole fear with soy is like a patriarchal thing.
Yeah.
Like there's many cultures all over the world that eat soy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they're some of the longest living populations.
Totally.
So that's on that.
I wish I had the science with me about it, but I don't. I think that it's fine.
I think it's fine. I think we're good. If you're having edamame with your breakfast, like, you're okay.
Yeah.
No, that sounds amazing. I can't wait to try that. I'm going to tag you when I try that because that sounds good.
Can't wait.
Fill in the blank. If everyone had this one habit, it would change their life.
This is a rogue one.
Ooh.
But hanging out with your friends twice a week.
Might be my favorite answer I've ever gotten to this question. Tell
the
me
best
why.
thing. I think that community and social interaction is the most important thing anyone can do for their health. Yeah, supplements are great, sleep is great, but we've been seeing in research over and over again that the person who's drinking and smoking every day but surrounded by an amazing community is healthier than the biohacker. And I think that for me, I've seen my health and wellness transform when I started to prioritize my community and building that, than actually being siloed, waking up at 5 a.m., working out, doing whatever health and wellness optimization hack is trendy. I think it's just so rare too these days to prioritize seeing friends. Everyone's so stressed out and busy. Just go see a friend, have a drink with a friend. Like, it is so rewarding, and it's like the ultimate stress reliever in my opinion.
I love the goal of like 2 times a week. My God, I'm like, damn, I don't do that.
It's doable. 2 times.
It's doable.
1 weekend hang, 1 weekday hang. And doing it during the week too, it's like so game changing for me.
You need to relieve your stress during the week. Yeah, you cannot just be like living for the weekend.
Yeah.
I love that answer. What is the best advice that you didn't receive but you should have?
I would say that I had to have it all figured out before I started something on my own. I think that I thought for a lot of years that I had to like go to a super Ivy League school and work for all of the best brands and have like a million credentials behind my name before starting DailyBasis. And what I learned is that I just have this really authentic story that's really true to me, and I'm really passionate about it. And that has been the best thing to grow this brand, is to share that with other women. And because I can really empathize with just being a normal girl, I'm not some like pedestal subject matter expert, but I have become that way through starting this and learning from our OBGYNs and our functional medicine doctors, that I'm so glad that I did it when I did instead of waiting, because it's really needed, and I'm able to empathize with so many women. My day-to-day is just talking about periods with girls, which is literally a dream job.
It's funny, I've never talked to an entrepreneur yet who has said, I wish I learned more, had more expertise before I started. Not once has someone said that. If anything, it's like, I wish I started sooner.
Yeah.
It's interesting like that, what you said of like, you were in the perfect situation to actually launch this business because you understood what it was like for the average everyday woman. That's a really powerful question. I mean, answer. That's a really powerful answer.
Your question is powerful.
I know. I'm like, good for me. It's such a great question. A limiting belief that you had to let go of to get to where you are now. Maybe that would be the same answer.
I think it's the same answer. Yeah.
Really good one. What is a book that changed your life?
Okay. This one's going to be controversial and I might get hate mail for it.
Uh-oh.
But I have an explanation behind it.
Okay.
I'm going to say the Akatar series. But here's the reason.
I thought it was going to be like a lot crazier.
Well, but I need to explain.
Okay, you can explain.
Because everyone's like, oh my God, of course you love Fourth Wing, you love Akatar. And I'm like, yes, but here's why. I used to only read self-help books. And it was honestly toxic because my escape reading at night would be like, better yourself in this way. And when my friends told me to read romantic fantasy and started reading these silly books, I was like, oh my God, it's a literal mind escape. I'm like going into a world that's so indulgent, and it's like a huge stress reliever. It's the thing that changed my whole life. So thank you.
That is such a good answer. No, I'm obsessed with that answer.
And I have no shame. I'm like, yeah, I love Fourth Wing. And people are like, dude, what? I'm like, no, it's great. It's just such an escape. And I don't care that it's like dragons and sex. It's just pure fun.
It's fun.
It's joyful.
I feel like I need to get more into fantasy. I love like a good celebrity memoir. Fantasy, I've always been like, oh, I never wasn't really into Harry Potter, but I'm really
Try
getting
it.
talked into. It's like such an escape. Like it's a
It's
way to just
such
like
an escape.
de-stress. Like you are focused on what you're reading and into the story. You're not thinking about your to-do list for tomorrow.
You
like,
can't compare yourself to anyone in the book.
honestly,
You,
yeah.
like it's so just unrelatable.
in the best way.
The best way that like the sex that's explained in the book, like you can't relate to that sex. Like it's just not possible. Overall, just like a full mind escape.
But now I'm like, now I have to read it to understand why I can't relate to that sex. That's what
It's
I want to
true.
know.
It's true.
That is such a good answer. Wow. Okay, Izzy, where can everybody find you? Shop
Yeah.
Daily Basis. Tell us the tea.
Every Girl podcast listeners get 30% off their first month. So
That
exciting.
is so nice. So excited.
You can go to dailybasislife.com/everygirl. And dailybasislife.com is our domain, so you can check it out. We have all our ingredients, our OBGYNs in there. Try the product. And Instagram is also Daily Basis Life.
And I imagine you have a subscription and
Yeah.
so people just, which I love that because then that's easy, especially for something, again, you're not trying to like work to a goal and do the supplement for 3 months. Like this is something for your life.
Yeah.
You just do it and you don't have to think twice.
Yeah, and it's not as expensive as a lot of the other dailies
That's
out there.
huge.
Yeah.
That's
so.
huge. Well, thank you so much, Izzy. This was so
Yeah,
fun.
so great to be here.
So informative. I
Woohoo.
learned so much.
I hope that everyone else does too.
Oh, everyone will, for sure. I love you for joining me today, Every Girls. Make sure to click follow on your favorite listening platform. We have new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you've been enjoying the show, leave us a review and a 5-star rating and share an episode you love with a friend. Follow us along at the Every Girl Podcast. I'm so happy you're here, and I'll see you in the next episode.